there's a moment for successful people when not much might change from an income or success standpoint, but their tax situation is impacted somewhat dramatically. The income stays the same, the investment stays the same, but the tax treatment does not.
This has happened when your success quietly changes your role. Almost everyone plans for capital gains.
What they rarely plan for are the secondary taxes that is a result of their success.
Today's episode is brought to you by Security Financial Management.
Welcome back, Best Advice Podcast, guys. I'm your host, Rob Lavalio, here with Certified Financial Planner, Austin Jacks, aka The Fats. Hey, Fats.
Robert.
Hey, you haven't been back here in a while, man.
Excited to be on this couch.
Yes. I've been waiting for months.
Yeah.
I haven't moved.
Finally got the invite back. Just a little hiatus. We're back. We're
Let's
rocking.
do it. We got the A team today, and we got a pretty interesting topic. Bring this out for me.
All right, let's do it.
Well, let's get to it with the question of the day. Today's question comes from Landon. Landon from Sarasota. Landon, what you got for us?
What is net investment income tax? How does that apply?
Thank you, Landon. Great question. We're going to have to bring in the CFP. This is why we brought you here, why we dragged you out of your office 2 steps away, because we need some insight. Yeah,
absolutely.
Please.
So the net investment income tax is basically an additional tax that high income earners might be subject to if they have an income over a certain level, as well as interest, dividends, basically income taxes that aren't associated with their wages. So income from investments, capital gains, stuff like that. So for individual earners who have modified adjusted gross income above $200,000 and they have investment income from, like I said, stocks, bonds, funds, etc., they might be subject to an additional 3.8% tax depending on how much investment income they have in a year. So
that's kind of, I never really heard of that. Is that newish? Is that like
new-ish? 2013 is when it kind of came into effect.
Yeah. That's hard to plan for.
It's just not something people readily think about. So when you think about gains taxes, for instance, like, okay, you hear about long-term capital gains brackets. Okay, 15, 20%.
Yeah.
You might not be aware that, hey, there could be an additional 3.8%
Not at all.
tax, if your income is above a certain level.
I live in this place with a bunch of CFPs and it was a financial advisor for a couple of years that I'm going through my tax at the end of the year. I'm trying to offset like the rental income with the wages, I guess. And I'm going through it thinking everything's systemized from the outside, looks great. Okay. Everything's meticulously put together. But again, and
that's why it's important to work with CPAs and stuff like that, because again, it's newer. Tax code changes all the time. So it's important to stay on top of that stuff. But essentially, if you earn above, and you're an individual above $200,000 and you have investment income, there might be a circumstance where you owe an additional 3.8%. So an example would be, hey, I earned $200,000. That's the threshold to where it might kick in. So if, say, you're individual, you earn $225,000 in a year, and you have investment income or a long-term capital gain of, call it $80,000. Basically, the tax applies to the lesser of the amount you earned over that threshold. So your wages, your modified adjusted gross income above that $200,000 threshold, the lesser of that, or your capital gain. So if you had a capital gain of $100,000, to keep it simple, and your modified adjusted gross income was $225,000, you would owe taxes on $25,000 because that is the amount above that $200,000 income threshold, but it's less than the capital gain. So,
golly, there's a lot of moving parts.
There are a lot of moving parts. That's why it's important to work with the CPAs. But just know that, hey, if you earn above a certain amount and you have investment income that's not associated with your wages, there could be a little bit of extra tax that you got to pay.
Because in the outside looking in, you're talking about Jim. Say Jim is client X, not a real client. You think structurally you're good, right? Like everything is set up the way you want it to be set up, and then bam, another 4%.
Yeah.
Which could hurt. Depending on your situation.
Depending on the situation, another 4% on $1 million. That's
could be
that's
kids'
40,
college.
That's 40 grand. Yeah. So depending on the amount of the gain, the amount of investment income, that you have and the amount of income you earn above a certain threshold, that could really kick in.
Now, I feel like there's always a nuance in everything.
Sure.
Is there any situations, if you had a client where you were able to like avoid that, or is that just like every time stamped down, you must pay this?
Yeah. So again, it's important to collaborate with CPAs who are going to have all the rules and stuff on this. But there are instances when, if you work, for instance, for a privately held company and you own stock in the private company, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If you materially participate in that company, it's not a passive investment. Like, you work for the company, you have material participation in that company, and you sell the stock, you might not be subject to that 3.8% net investment income tax because you materially participated in the private company. So in that instance, a way to maybe avoid that tax on your privately held stock would be, hey, maybe you sell the stock while you're still employed there, because if you aren't employed there, then that 3.8% might kick in. So for people, executives who own stock in private companies, talk with your CPA, your certified financial planner, to kind of see, hey, does it make sense to sell the stock while I'm still employed there? Or should I wait until after? Because one school of thought might be like, well, I'll wait till after because I'm not going to have an income. So I'll sell it maybe on the long-term capital gain. I won't get, dinged as much, but then that 3.8% kicks in. The reality is people in those types of situations are probably going to have investment income that's pretty substantial. So it might make sense to just sell the stock while you're still employed there, not get dinged with that 3.8% net investment income tax. So again, kind of a complex little nuance to the tax code that people might not be readily aware of. So it's important to collaborate with your CPA and stuff. But in summary, basically, if you earn above a certain threshold and have investment income, beware that you might have an additional tax that's associated with, investment income and long-term capital gains, etc.
Very interesting.
This podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only and is not intended as personal financial advice. Before making any financial decision, please do your own research and consult a financial advisor as needed.